Welcome to Subramani. One thing in all investors' life which keeps changing is, of course, the interest rate. Interest rates keep going up, keep going down. Right now, the GSEC is at about 7%, give or take a little bit here and there. And everybody is predicting that the interest rates will go down. We do not know how fast and how soon it will start going down and how much it will go down, right, and how fast it will go down. None of this we know, but we all know that market seems to have hit a higher end. Interest rates may not go up much from here, not only in the US but even in India. If anything, the tendency is for interest rates to come down. So when interest rates come down, what should you do? I'm not talking about what you should do in your equity investments, but generally with your money, what should you do? First, go and buy bonds, as long a bond as you can, right? Assuming that, of course, it's a good company. If you have a Tata Motors bond available for 10 years, if you have a Cholamandalam investment bond available for 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, whatever, right? All those things are good because that will give you a good current yield, maybe 8%, 9%, 9.25%, whatever, and a good current yield for the next 8-9 years. Of course, there is a risk that it will be called and they will say after 3 years, we don't want to keep it with you. So look for put and call options, but yes, that's a good option. The second option is some banks can even give you a 10-year fixed deposit. So if they give you a 10-year fixed deposit, that's a very attractive rate, especially for non-taxpayers. And anyway, if you're looking to lock up your money for next 8-10 years, you can always break it in between. The bank will only be too happy if the rate of interest is high, but the banks normally don't have a put and call option. So you don't run the risk that if interest rate falls too much, let's say gilt goes to 5%, 4.5%, then the bank can't call you up and say, we want that deposit back and take your money. That won't happen. That happens in a bond. So that is one thing you can do. Next, try postponing any borrowing till interest rates fall. If you want to buy a house or a car or anything, you can be sure that when interest rates fall, you will get a better deal. So of course, if you must buy, then it's a different thing. But if you can postpone buying, that's a even better thing. But remember that car loan interest rates are fixed, whereas in a home loan, it's a floating mortgage that you would go in for. Very, very unlikely that you'll go for a fixed mortgage. So when you go for a floating rate, anyway, it will get reset. But if you can postponing makes sense. Right now, in Indian conditions, there is a shortage of money for banks. Banks don't have enough money to lend, so the rates are pretty high. So don't be in a hurry to borrow. Keep checking the savings bank interest rate that you're getting. Some banks are still paying 2.5%. Some banks are paying 7.25%. I got an offer at 7.25% for a savings bank account, which is a very good rate. And maybe you should shift a part of your money. So don't let your bank take you for a ride saying, oh, the savings bank account is only so much, or you move your money to some liquid fund, floating rate fund, or even an ultra short bond fund, right? So if you can move your money at 5.5-6%, it is better than letting your money rot at 2%. But that's what some banks are paying on their savings bank account, right? So be careful about that, and higher the balance, the lesser they pay, right? They'll find some excuse not to pay you interest on your savings bank account if possible, since they can't do it. And since that rate can be changed from bank to bank. Once upon a time, all banks were paying the same rate. So today it is not that bad. So shifting your money to some ultra short bond fund or some even longer term fund, if you don't require the money, that's not a bad idea. Even being in gilt fund at this point in time is not a bad idea, but from a tax point of view, today all the debt instruments are being taxed at a flat rate. It will get added to your income. So I'm not talking at all from an investing point of view, that from a tax point of view, no, but from an interest rate point of view. Ideally, of course, you should go and put money in a in a multi-cap or a multi-asset fund where the taxation is 12.5% instead of a debt fund where it will be flat rate, get added to your income. Of course, if you're sure that your income is going to drop after some time from 30% to 20%, then it may not be a bad option at all, because you're definitely going to get a good portfolio appreciation when the interest rates fall, right? If you must borrow, especially when interest rates go down, you could even tap your home equity. If your house has appreciated in value, you could use that for borrowing for any other reason also. Please remember that State Bank of India has a loan, home loan, which is like a floating rate OD, overdraft, right? So if you borrow money against that, let's say you borrowed 80 lakhs or 90 lakhs and you have repaid 30-40 lakhs, which means you don't have to repay. When interest rates go down, you could use that money for investing, you could use that money for buying a car, you could do any of those stuff, because that interest rate is, interest doesn't matter. Up to 2 lakhs is what you're going to get as a deduction, but the rate of interest that on a home mortgage is much less than it would be on a car loan, or even sometimes even less than an educational loan. So be careful. Tap your home equity. It may be a good idea to tap, especially when interest rates fall. Please understand that even your student loans, home mortgage, everything can be refinanced. When right now interest rates are high, but once interest rates go down, even your student loan, which is 7 years or 8 years, can be refinanced. So you must do that. Of course, your mortgage will be refinanced, because if they don't shift, if they don't say, okay, interest rates have fallen, so your rates have fallen, then just shift. Shifting to somebody who has an OD for housing loan makes more sense. So if you are stuck with a loan, shift to SBI. I think SBI does it. Once upon a time HSBC used to do it. I'm not very sure. Market, do some shopping and find out if such a facility is available, and if your mortgage is a big amount, it might make sense. Of course, if your mortgage is a small amount, doesn't make sense, and anyway up to 2 lakhs is what you get, and that too as a deduction, and that too if you are filing under the new regime, then you don't get even that deduction. So be careful about that. But yes, refinancing makes sense when interest rates go down, right? One thing which is anyway common, whether interest rates are up or down, is to maintain good credit and maintain clean hygiene. So when you get your report of your score, if you get your score and you are not very happy with the score that you've got for your FICO score or CIBIL score, as you wish to call it, if it's not good, go and get your report and check your report. There could be some mistakes. I have found mistakes in my report. It reported a credit card which I never used, right? I got it and I said I don't want it. I destroyed it. I didn't use it. It was still showing. It was not showing any balance, but it was still showing one credit card in my name which did not exist, right? So check your credit score and do it annually, and make sure that there are no mistakes in that. And if there are some things which have happened, some errors which have happened in the past, some default which has happened, you have failed to pay on time, make sure that you keep cleaning and keep improving your credit score. That's one of the best ways to reduce your interest costs in case of your future borrowing. Thank you.